All right, so we have a special guest with us here at the virtual block, Shanika Knight, aka the Grace Coach. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited. This is exciting.
We're excited.
We're
Thank
excited.
you for being here with us on Market Black Virtual Block, where we discuss entrepreneur journeys. And today we just want to hear all about your journey, how you got started in the life coach field. We want to hear about the other endeavors that you have going on with your apparel line and things like that. So if you're ready, we can just jump right into it. The first thing we just wanted to talk about is, one, what is life coaching? If you can just give kind of an overall idea to people who may not know what life coaching is, how it differs from more, I guess, traditional fields like therapy and psychotherapy and counseling and things like that.
Yeah. So basically, and I'm gonna just keep it, and you guys the whole, long dissertation. Honestly, a life coach is just like is like a personal cheerleader, right? The same way how you kind of have, a coach for, I'm not a sports person, but how you have that coach, for football, basketball, that person that's, on the sidelines, cheering you on, giving you the plays, all those kinds of things for you to be successful in whatever it is that you're doing. That is basically what life coach is. Yes, when you go through to be certified as a life coach, they specifically tell you you're not a counselor, you're not a therapist, you are simply just there to kind of like encourage that person and push that person to their goals, right? But for me, it's a twofold. People get like a dual from me. And the reason why that makes my program, I believe, much more unique, because I'm more interested in what got you stuck to begin with.
Like that.
Versus me coming in. Now you coming in and you're saying you having issues with this, that, and the third. I can help you get to those places, but if we don't figure out what prevented it from the beginning, when life happens again, you coming right back full circle to that same stuck spot again.
Right.
So regardless of what they tell you in school, with your own business, you do what you want. Right? So right. I kind of give a little bit of both. And I think because I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go back, like during school, it was a question that kind of came up, in regards to that. And I kind of had not a negative thing with the professor, but I'm like, I ain't too comfortable with just, yeah, you can do it. And then, you do it 3 months later, life happens, you calling me again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but to answer your question, sorry, didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
No, it's all right.
Nah.
That's basically what a life coach is, honestly. It's supposed to be a person, I hope I ain't turn this off, a person who is there to just, to pretty much encourage you and push you, for basically to progress in life, right? To kind of get you over those obstacles that, that have had you stuck, help you to be able to come up with attainable goals, to be able to achieve those things, to be able to, conquer whatever it is you're trying to conquer. There's different type of life coaches, as I'm sure you guys probably, know. You have, job, employment, coaches. You have health coaches, all those kind of things. I'm not either one of those.
Okay. That was actually going to be my next question, because I was wondering, when someone comes to you, is there a specific issue that they have to have, or a genre or a field that you specialize in mostly?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, for me, so like I said, I'm not a health coach, so please don't come to me asking me to help you lose weight, because I need one of those myself.
I'm right with you.
Right.
I'm not, one as far as like they call them kind of like, like the employment coaches that kind of help you, with your resumes and things like that. Like, I don't particularly focus on that. Mine's is more or less personal development.
Okay.
So I specialize in relationships, whether it's, intimate relationships, family dynamic relationships, things like that, spiritual growth, understanding and knowing your purpose, and just overall, just life. Some people are just stuck, in life, period, not really knowing like where to go, which way to go, what their purpose is and things like that. So all of those kinds of things are what I pretty much, focus on.
That's great.
So I take that a lot of the things that you deal with are more personal. What led you? What sequence of events? Kind of like pushed you into being a life coach? Because someone would have to experience something that may have sparked an interest to want to help. I mean, it takes a special person to want to help others overcome issues that they're dealing with. How did that come about?
So basically, for me, because I like to be completely transparent, basically for me, it was my own wilderness experience that lasted probably about maybe 15, 16 years. It was a long time that I was in a place of pure brokenness, just dealing with all kinds of deep-rooted, stuff, anger, just everything. And I had finally gotten to a point where I recognized that I needed to change. And that change came from my child saying to me, why are you so angry? Because I would just go off. It could be a glass on the table. You would think they burned my house down the way I would respond to them. And it's crazy because, everybody has a story, right? And people look at me now and would never think that my story is what it was. And it took my kids to say to me, Mom, why are you so angry? And I'm like, and all of a sudden it could have been, God at that particular moment, because I've heard that before, but at some reason at that particular point in time, it like hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, wait a minute, something has to change. And I then began to, pray and ask God, like, what is it that I need to do? Send someone, in my life to help me. I don't know if I should go to therapy. I don't know, I don't know what to do. So lo and behold, someone came into my life as a quote unquote life coach. Wasn't, certified as one or anything like that. But someone came into my life like as a mentor, whom is still my mentor to this day. She is 86 years old and she is still my mentor. I still speak to her at least 2-3 times a week. And she's been in my life, I would say, literally 20 years.
Wow.
And she came into my life and she basically picked me up, helped me put my pieces back together, walked through my journey with me, and helped me to freedom with her and God. That is how I got to this place. And once that happened, I'm like, I want to give that back. I want to be able to do that for another woman. Mainly because I struggled for so long, because like most of us as women, we wear this mask, right? We want to always appear to be okay when we're dying on the inside. And we don't talk. We don't share as much as we should. Why? Because as women, we're naturally mistrusting. Because we know that women can be catty. When we don't know who's going to tell our business and who's not going to tell our business. And a lot of that is a trick of the enemy, because he wants to keep us isolated. So it was like, I want to be able to help women to know you're not alone. Like, you're not by yourself. The things that you're dealing with, someone else is dealing with that, or someone else has dealt with that. And I'm like, I want to be able to help people on their journey, because we can't do it by ourselves. As much as we try, we cannot conquer it alone. Yes, we have God, but that's why God has people. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. We can't do it by ourselves. So basically, that's what happened. Without getting into, a whole bunch of, details, but that's basically what it was. That's what prompted me to say, and honestly, prior to that, I was always kind of like I called myself a jack-legged counselor before I got my degree and all that kind of stuff, because I was always like a mentor, and I always had young women. I was a youth leader for 17 years in my previous church. I always had young girls coming to me. I always had people wanting me to mentor them and things like that. So I always kind of knew that it was my purpose, but I had to kind of go through, that wilderness to like really understand, what it was for me to be able to then go out and be able to help, to help someone else. So that's basically, that's basically it. That's what prompted me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going full force now. And I'm like, as many women as I can get, that's to get to that place to understand you can be free.
Yes.
Life doesn't have to be as hard as we make it. Then I feel like I have accomplished something.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So it's like a pay it forward. You
Absolutely.
And you pay it forward. And when you said that, I don't know if we got to that part yet, but just when you said you had to go through the wilderness first before you were able to do it, that just takes me back to so much, just a lot of word that we hear about people being attached to our assignments and us not going through things just for us, but going through it because the purpose of it is meant one day to guide somebody else through that same experience. So that's that right there. That's awesome. That's awesome. So the next question is if you can just give us a little bit background on the credentials and kind of what area, because I don't know, is it primarily Christian based? Does someone have to be of the Christian faith to work with you? Just a little bit more information on that part.
So basically, as I was saying to you with the so I am I have a degree in psychology, minor in Christian counseling. I am certified, as a Christian life coach. The reason why I chose, and it was weird because it took me a long time to find a good Christian life coaching program. If you type in Christian life coach, you're going to get every life coach program that exists without, the Christian, attribute attached to it, right? It took me so long to find that. And then I finally found a program that was like located in Florida. It was like an online, kind of thing or whatever. And it was great. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, as a Christian, a lover of God, everything that I do, Christ is the center. But to answer your question, no, you do not have to be a Christian. I have had, I've had a Muslim client. I've had clients that are not, of any faith. But what has happened is that, because God is just so awesome in just how he does things, even when those people have come to me, it was never a battle when I utilize Christ as the center, because I give that disclaimer in the beginning. Okay. My program is, what I do is not something where when you come to me, I'm constantly hitting you in the face with the Bible. But at the same time, because I meet you where you are. That's how God did with me. I meet people exactly where they are, right? And it's my light. And that sense of caring and true concern is what gets people to the place where they want to know, like, why are you like this? After you've, sometimes I'll share my story depending upon, who it is, what story that God is telling me to share. And they're like, and you're still standing? How? It's God. Nothing but. So no, I definitely don't turn people away because, again, a woman is a woman.
Yeah. Yes.
Honestly. And when we're hurting, we're hurting. When we're broken, we're broken. It doesn't matter what denomination, that you serve. But I do let people know in the beginning that, everything that I do, it is Christ-centered. And I'll tell people, because if you're not ready, for that, I'm okay with you saying, no, I'm not going to take your money and just do things. And, and I know this is not something that you agree with, but no, any woman who, which is why I give, when people come to me, I give a 15-20 minute free consultation. I do that first so I can kind of get to know and understand what it is that they need. And then they get an opportunity to kind of understand me and the program and what it is that I offer. And at that point, they have the opportunity to decide, yes, I'm going to go forward, or no, this might not be something for me.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got a question. I know your area of focus is primarily women, right? So you have now I've had several conversations with you, and you've dropped crazy gems on me. And it blessed and it helped me out. Have you tried? Mentorship is different, but coaching, anyone can be coached. Although your focus is women. Have you tried coaching? Young men.
It's funny that you say that because I honestly was just having this conversation the other day. I'm also a part of a group called Black Christian Influencers. They actually reached out to me from my Instagram and wanted me to become a part of it. And I'm actually glad that I did. It's a huge, huge organization. And when I was presenting what I do, I had several men respond back and say, we need coaching too.
Yes.
Like, your program is awesome. Like, we need that same thing. That's not something that's just dedicated to women. And I get it. I do. And it's not that I don't want to. And the funny thing is, Rasheem, I get along so much better with men, you know, like having conversations and things like that. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what my reservation is. I'm still kind of, you know, trying to figure that out. But honestly, I think that if a man actually came to me, I would not turn them away. Because I had that kind of relationship with my nephews. Like, they're constantly on my phone. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, no, I'm calling out Shanika. Shanika, this is the situation. You know what I'm saying? So I'm constantly, you know, doing that. So, I mean, I don't know. So now that you asked me again, I'm like, okay, God, maybe, you know, even my husband has said it, you know, before. And I'm like, I don't know. You know, I feel like
Take
this
you
is
out your
my
comfort
area.
zone.
Right.
Broaden your
Exactly,
territory.
Exactly. But I mean, it's something that I probably do need to kind of begin to think about. And I think I kind of started when I had my last event, because my last event was not just for women. It was open to men and women. So yeah, that's something I am definitely thinking about, and, you know, kind of trying to move.
Yeah, because your area, you know, even when it come down to the shirts, I asked for a color. And you said, well, guys don't ask for this color. I'm like, yo, like, so you mean to tell me guys don't buy your shirts? Like, I want colors.
Right. No,
you
right.
certainly did get it. That's awesome. So it's been kind of creeping up on you slowly. Yeah. Something for you to think about.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And just to say that's awesome to hear that men have reached out to you for that service, because, you know, that's also something we've all been talking more about, you know, out there, is just having our brothers and men, you know, talking things out. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
In itself. Yes. So we talked about those things. We wanted to, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on within your life coaching experience, or any other topics that you wanted to touch on before we wanted to hear about Grace Apparel and your other endeavors?
Well, I mean, just basically, I guess at this point I could probably talk about the G Network, if that's
okay.
Because I think that was probably the next thing, right?
Yep. So that is the question I had. What is the G Network?
Because I thought the G Network was, you know, I didn't know they were.
Grace. Okay.
So that was a question that I had for you. That actually was the next question.
So then that means you've never looked at my website, sir. Anyhow.
Well, we want the listeners to hear about your other endeavors. So talk to us about the G Network and what that is and how that ties into everything.
Right. So basically, the G Network my life coaching kind of falls under that. It's like, you know how you kind of have like a nonprofit, but my life coaching is for profit, because that is, you know, that is a fee for service, right? But the G Network basically is an entity where my focus is on the emotional and spiritual health of women, right? And it's called the G Network, hence the G for Grace, Grow, and Genuine. So, you know, here's my little 3-minute elevator speech, right?
Here we go.
So basically, it's, you know, my purpose is to help women to be able to understand God's grace, because that is something that we struggle with. Men do as well. You know, struggle with understanding that grace is free. It's something that is given to us regardless of our past, regardless of our history, regardless of what it is that we've done. That grace is there. But what happens is, because we beat ourselves up so bad for things that we have done, our past, whatever sins, whatever it is that we've done, we feel like God ain't looking at me. You know, God is not providing no grace for me because I did this, and this. And my purpose is to help people to understand that it doesn't matter. Grace, period, is there. It's yours. Yeah. It's all about you being able to accept that. And being able to walk in it. And I truly believe that once we're able to accept that grace and walk in that grace, we then can grow. because you can't grow if you're still stuck not understanding that God is going to love me regardless. You know, he's going to cover me regardless. So when you have that grace, you then can grow. And as you grow in his love, you then can live genuinely. Can't live genuinely if you're stuck without accepting grace and you're not growing.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you get to the end and it's like, now I can really take this mask off. I can truly live genuine to myself, to the people around me, and most importantly, to God. So that's so hence the G in the G network. And the network is pretty much because my objective is to connect with like-minded women, different organizations, things like that, who kind of have the same mindset, who basically want to just build women, encourage women, that type of thing, to kind of get us to that place of freedom. So yes, the G network. So that's what the G network is. And with the G network is where I have my, I do the Genuine Girl Chats, which, basically are events that I have that we kind of come together and just discuss those things that we typically don't discuss as women. It's crazy because my very first one, and I'll share this because I believe that it's important in people that's listening. And I think I may do it again. I may need to revisit it. But my very first workshop that I did was called like I'm More Than Enough, right? Which kind of started with the t-shirt that Malika is wearing. And it started from me watching an episode of Black Ink. Now, this was 3 years ago. Wow. And the whole thing kind of got me when, it was a situation where I don't want to get too graphic because it was a little bit, but it was a situation where Sky, for any of you guys who watch Black Ink, she was going down to get some plastic surgery on an area of her body that we all are like, So when that was happening, I'm like, wait, people do that? What is that about? So as I began to listen, to her reasons why and things like that, I'm like, when I got to do something. Because if women are actually going to have surgery on an area of their body that I don't want to, just so you guys kind of get the picture, know what I'm talking about. If you are that insecure and unhappy with yourself because of the life that you've lived, the several, partners that you've had, and the wear and tear on your body to the point where you want to go have reconstructive surgery for it to look like someone else's, that's a problem. So when when that hit me and I had this workshop, that's what started really the Genuine Girl Chats. Because when I'm having this conversation and women are like, what? Like, what is going on? Listen, I had pictures. I mean, everything. Because honestly, I didn't believe it. I'm thinking everybody looked like me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then to look at this and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, women need an outlet. We need an outlet to be able to talk. Because mind you, that's a conversation that I don't care your best friend, your sister, your mother, that is not a conversation that we're having.
Right.
You are not saying, what, sis, I'm looking at myself and mine is ugly. We ain't having that conversation.
That is not an everyday conversation at all.
Right? So that's what kind of prompted the Girl Chats. And I'm like, I don't want to just come and talk about the same stuff that we talk about all the time. No, I want to talk about those things that we don't talk about. Because people are suffering in silence with them. Yeah. You going out and you having surgeries. You doing all, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of things. When in that particular workshop, you would be surprised how many women in there could attest and could look at some of them pictures and say, and literally break out crying because they look like some of those pictures.
Yeah, wow.
Because they gave themselves away off of false pretenses, lack of a father.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever the situation was. But I'm just like, this, I have to keep doing this. Yeah. So that's what prompted the Girl Chats. And that's why, I continue to have them. And I'm always trying to come up with topics, that are going to really be able to penetrate and help lead people to freedom and knowing I'm not alone. I'm not the only woman that feels like this. I'm not the only woman, that's dealing with this. So that's the biggest thing that I do in the G Network outside of the mentoring program, that I have, but it's mainly the girl chats. And so next year, the girl chat is going to the islands. So we're going to the Bahamas next July. My first G Network event will be in the Bahamas next year, but it will be open to men and women.
Oh, because that's an opportunity for vacation.
It will definitely be open to men and women, and I plan to have a whole like panel empowerment session, all those kinds of things. I'm excited about that. Nice. I am excited about that. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like we need that. That's awesome. We really need those type of outlets, because we don't talk. We don't talk, and we don't share. And I mean, I understand, why. I'm a woman. I get it, but we need it.
This safe haven that you're pretty much creating, right? I'm not saying you're a pastor, but a pastor carries a lot of weight of issues that other people carry. Mm-hmm. In a sense, you're kind of in the same position where people are coming to you with their deepest and darkest of secrets, things that they have seen, that they've experienced, things that they have done. Like, how do you manage and separate, your personal life? Because you're a genuine person, and you're not like a person. You're pretty vested in those who you deal with. How do you separate, and not carry that weight that comes along with your position?
To be honest with you, in the beginning, when I first kind of started, I didn't really know how to balance it. It would really, really weigh on me. Be plenty of nights I would be on my knees crying. Like, I just couldn't believe, that when people were going through some of the things they were going through. But at the same time, thanking God for entrusting me, as a vessel for people to be able to utilize, to dump their stuff. But as time went on, honestly, it was more or less me really depending and leaning on God, and recognizing that part of it is I have a job to do. But at the same time, like you said, I am a genuine, compassionate person. Like, and I have a big heart and I have empathy. But it's like, after you do it for so long, not that it doesn't have the same impact, but at the same time, it's kind of easier for me to not bring it home, if that makes sense. And it's more or less, honestly, me praying. And I pray before any session, that I have, after any session, that I have. And one of my prayers is, Lord, not let this weigh heavy, on me. And sometimes, depending, it can, because I've noticed that a lot of my clients that come to me are people who are dealing with a lot of things that I've already dealt with. Mm. There are sometimes people that come to me who are dealing with things that I've never experienced, right? But then there's a lot and I'm like, okay, God, like, I didn't want to revisit that, but it makes it easier for me to be able to kind of talk and help them through it, because it's like, all right, you know what? I dealt with that. And they look at me like, what? You dealt? I dealt with that. And sometimes with those situations, because the enemy is slick, right? So, in my mind, I'm like, okay, now this is replaying. And I just have to like immediately rebuke that. And I'm not trying to be like cliche-ish, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. But I have to, because it's a real thing for me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that I actually experienced. I've actually dealt with. So yeah, if that comes back up, that was one of the things that had me in my wilderness. And I ain't trying to go back. Right. You know what I mean? So it's hard. And the enemy fights me extremely hard in this position, because my position is to help people to become free. He doesn't want anybody to be free. So trust and believe, he fights me, and he fights me hard. Whether it's within my marriage, whether it's with my kids, my job, he fights me hard. And I have to always, always, always be one step ahead. It's hard. It is hard. There's plenty of times I'd be like, you know what? I'd be wanting to give up. But I'm like, there's so many people depending on me. Yes. Right. Like, there's so many people, who who need what I have. And I know that, like, you know, outwardly, when people see me in the public, like, people never probably would think that I have so much that I have to give, because I am pretty quiet and kind of laid back, and I'm not, you know, but I have to be that way in order for me to maintain what God has given me to be able to give, you know, to someone else. But yes, Sheem, it's difficult, and it takes a lot of prayer. Because it'd be some heavy stuff.
Can imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Some heavy stuff.
I would imagine.
But I'm thankful, you know, at the same time, you know, because I'm like little old me. You know, God chose me to be this person that people can trust, you know, with their deepest, darkest, you know, secrets. And then for me to be able to help them through, and then to hear, like, you know, their success, you know, in it. And that right there is just fulfillment within itself.
All right. So with the G Network, you talked about your mission and the services that's provided in that. The next thing that we wanted to get into was Grace Apparel. And we are both wearing our Grace Apparel shirts today. My shirt says, "I am enough." I love this shirt so much.
Oh.
This spoke to me when I saw it. I said, I have to get that shirt.
Say it with your
shirt.
Yeah.
Say it with your shirt. Yes.
Yeah, say it with your shirt.
Absolutely.
Is that something that you say?
Say it with your shirt.
Yeah, when I saw this one, I said I definitely have to have that. I love this shirt so much, and I just love what it represents. I am enough, you know, in all things. Can you just talk to us about Grace Apparel? And you talked to us about, you know, I am enough in itself, but some of the other topics you like to express in your clothing and in your clothing line?
Sure, absolutely. Actually, the whole Grace Apparel just kind of began. You know, it started with just the Grace, you know, t-shirt. And again, the purpose of the Grace t-shirt was just for people to understand that, guys, grace, period. That's it. That's all we need, as the kids say, period. You know, like that's
straight to the point.
You know what I'm saying? Straight to the point. Like, that's it. And once we're, and honestly, I believe, and I mean, and I could be wrong, I don't know, but I believe that within that those ingredients, right, that's the first thing, is accepting that. And it's like, once we recognize that we have, like, grace, and I think before this, now that just made me think about it, because my t-shirt before this said, "I've got grace for that."
Okay.
That was my very first t-shirt. And then it just kind of moved into the Grace, period. And the I am enough, as I said earlier, was kind of stemmed from, you know, that workshop that I did. And just for women to understand that regardless, like, you are enough. You know, and because we fight so hard a lot of times, and it's not so much as to be someone else, but to be someone else. If that makes sense, because it's like, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to be nobody else, but at the same time, you, in the back of your mind, you kind of are, because you're looking at other people, and, you know, you're like, well, why can't I be a little bit like that? Or how come this person isn't dealing with what I'm dealing with? Or how come, you know, they haven't? And it's like, you begin to kind of like dumb yourself down and not recognize, you know what I'm saying, that at the end of the day, I am enough.
Absolutely.
And if anybody can't accept that, it's their loss. Right? So, I mean, it's like, and it stood out for me because I am a person, because again, I like to be transparent. I am a person who suffered from rejection issues, right? And abandonment issues. And for a while, I didn't think that I was enough. Regardless of what I knew that God had put in me and what God had instilled in me, when people wouldn't like respond to what I was doing, or if I didn't have people who was like really cheering me on or encouraging me, I would get to that moment where I felt like maybe I'm not enough. You know, maybe I'm not doing enough. But once God delivered me from people, and I'm like, this is who I am, this is who He has called me to be. The people that you're looking for to be in your corner are not your audience, but these ones that's out here in this street that ain't sitting in a church every Sunday, that's your audience.
There you go.
So at the end of the day, you are enough, right? Because my grace is sufficient that I've given to you, right? You don't need nothing else.
Right.
So basically, so that's kind of where that came from. And like I said, that's why I call myself the grace coach now. I'm like, my mentor was like, she said, no, we're going to do this and you're going to be the grace lady. Like when people see you, they're going to say, there's the grace lady. Right? But, and that's the thing, because I know that God's grace is what saved me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I think about my history and like what I come from, if not for the grace of God, there go I. I could be Jesus Christ. I could be living a whole different, life with a whole different mentality. Mm-hmm. But it was God's grace that kept me and carried me. And it's like, I want to share that. I'm a type of person where I want to see everybody win. Honestly, I don't have a jealous bone in my body. Yes. Of anyone. Like if you are successful, I'm going to be there. I'm going to cheer you on. I'm going to root for you. I want to see you win.
Yes.
And because of what God did for me, I want to see that light in others, right? People who come across my path, people who I interact with. I want to see that same thing. So I'm like, and my husband says all the time, like, you're not Superwoman. If I could ever, I'm telling you, if there was a such thing as a genie and I could ever get a wish, my wish would be to be a superhero where I can go around and just, you got grace. You got grace. You got grace. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so serious. I am so serious. Like, that's how much, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is in my heart, and it breaks my heart when I see other women suffer. And my sense of discernment is so strong. And that's another reason why I'm so, a lot of times, really quiet and laid back, because God shows me so much about people. And sometimes I wish I didn't. I don't want him to take it away. But sometimes I wish I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Responsibility.
And it's like when I know and I'm watching you act a certain type of way, and God then already showed me, and I know what it is, and it just breaks my heart, because I'm like, I want to help. Like, I want to do something. You know what I mean? I want to just give them a hug. Yeah. Because sometimes that's all. They just want to know that somebody cares.
Somebody cares, right?
Yeah. So that's really honestly, that's really, where I am. So with the t-shirts, I'm like, say it with your shirt. If this is how you feel, this is what you want to, proclaim, then you wear it. The other two that I have now is is God's grace for me. So of course I just kind of did that, because everybody today is like, oh, such and such, that's for me.
Oh, God's grace
for me. So
for
I'm
me.
like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon.
Jump on it, yes.
Right? And do that one. And then the other one is love made me, grace saved me.
Oh, I love that.
So everything that I do with my t-shirts are all surrounded basically around God's grace for the most part. I do have some shirts for the men, the God wins and the GOAT, God above all things. So over all things. So, I'm trying to, because I've had some men say, well, why you don't have nothing, for us? So I'm like, all right. And I sat and I kind of came up,
That's all we
with
get is
something.
all right.
Huh? What'd you say?
The shirts.
I was saying that's all we get is all right.
No,
we're not the focus.
Y'all got the
That's understandable, though. That's understandable. God trying to move you, and you trying to stay where you at.
I'm trying, because honestly, it's like one of them things too. You don't want. I'm trying not to put so much on my plate, but like stuff just keeps coming, and I feel like when it's coming, I don't want to pass it by, because I feel like God is giving it to me for a reason to do. But I never wanted to be, an entrepreneur in that sense, of having a t-shirt, like a store, or having it online, or doing those kind of things. But it's like the orders are constantly coming. They're coming and coming. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to do this. Let's do this. So that's kind of where, that kind of put me right there. But I enjoy it. And it makes me feel good to see other people wearing it. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we own several.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. Yeah. It definitely makes me feel good, because again, I suffered so long for not feeling like I was enough and not feeling like I was doing enough. And as I was telling Malika that, I'm a person who has suffered from really bad rejection issues and abandonment issues. So when things like that happens, it kind of puts me back for a second, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not doing enough. But like I said, once God delivered me from people and I really was able to hear clearly, even more clearly of my assignment, I'm like, I'm enough. And whoever don't accept that, that's your loss. And that's my mindset. Right. Anybody who doesn't want to be a part of me, that's your loss. You know, I mean, I can't let it hinder me because I have too much to do. And I have too many people depending on me for me to sit back and ball up in a corner, you know, because I feeling like I'm not enough, right? I can't do that when I'm walking around with grace on my chest, but I'm feeling like, feeling like, I'm not enough. But yeah, so that's kind of with the Grace Apparel. That's pretty much where all of that kind of stemmed from, and all of the T-shirts are surrounded around God's grace. And then I'm in the process now of actually redoing my whole website. Actually had to hire someone because I don't have that kind of time right now. I did my website myself the first time, but I don't have that kind of time. So I'm getting a lot of things added to it. So now people will be able to go direct to my website, order, their shirts and things like that. So once all that stuff is up and going, I'm going to do like a soft launch probably, for it come November. I'll be 45 in November. So, I'm trying to, hit November with a bang a little bit, just a little bit.
Celebrate all that good
celebrating
grace
in my business, what I'm saying? Celebrating what God has done, right?
Yes.
As well as, just getting it out there so people, know that I'm here.
Yeah.
That's
dope.
So when it comes to being an entrepreneur, is that something that you always wanted to do? I know you didn't always think that you would have a T-shirt line, but was that always on your mind to develop, your own business?
Nope. At all. I never ever consider myself a salesperson. I never consider myself to be like a hustler. Honestly, I am very, very spoiled. My husband's in the background saying he's the hustler. But in all honesty, he is and I'm not saying this to be smart, but I'm extremely spoiled. Right? And I've been like that since a child, right? But I was never a hustler because I never had to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that people who hustle because they have to, but I just never had that kind of drive. Now, to go to school, you know what I mean? Get degrees, all those kinds of things, work, helping people. That was my thing. But I was never interested, honestly, in being an entrepreneur, having, my own business or a T-shirt line or anything like that. That was the furthest thing from my mind. But here I am.
Here you are. That's awesome. And I asked that because I know there may be, young people listening to this or, other people who think they don't really have a desire to start their own business, but they may have a gift that they can utilize, to help them financially. I remember when I first started doing different things, and my aunt just would say, your gift will make room for you. And I wasn't thinking about them in a business way. I was just thinking this is something that I like to do. I enjoy. It makes me happy to do it. But then it became a time where my financial situation changed, and that gift, being able to monetize it actually helped me during that period. So it's good to hear that, your willingness and desire to help other women and to work with other women became a way for you to develop your business. And now here you are, you're a young Black entrepreneur. You have your many things under your belt that you can do to help you financially. And, just with Market Black and this platform, that's what we're all about. We just want to see, our people coming to the understanding that we have so many talents and gifts that we can use. And it's not that, everything has to be monetized because you have your things that you do just, because it's your desire to do it. But we're in this time where we understand that we have developed businesses and resources for so many other people. Why not do that same thing for ourselves, our families, and our community? Right. So, we do have gifts and we do have things that we can support each other in. If we have insurance companies and therapists and counselors charging all kinds of, outrageous amounts of money. And sometimes people really need these services and they may not have insurance or any way to really connect. Or a big thing for me is may not feel connected with those people in that field because they're,
by the book, they're not going to be as invested.
No, not even by the book, because they're not us, and because they can't relate to us. We can't talk to them about certain experiences, and we may not feel comfortable opening up to them about some things because it's just a big disconnect there. But to know that we have someone in you and someone in the life coaching field, I mean, I think that's a great career. This may not even be a career that other young people may not think that is something that they can build on, but there may be other, people who have that same desire to help people, don't know how to reach out to them, don't know really what avenue to go down. So life coaching is another field that we can get into more because it is needed for young women, young men in our community to have people that look like us, talk like us from the same environments that we can sit and talk to and relate to. So having a life coach on here is definitely something that it makes me happy, and just to know that we have someone in our own personal circle that's in this field is great. So if anyone is listening who may not know that they've been doing this for a long time, just as a desire. They help people, they talk to people all the time. They don't really know where to go. They may not be in school right now or even have had a desire to do like a traditional schooling program before. Could you just kind of give a little information of what kind of path they can go down if they wanted to get into this field?
Absolutely. Honestly, like I was saying earlier, if you go online, most life coaching programs are like online, but there are some colleges that actually offer, life coaching programs where it's a certificate. So you don't come out with with like a degree, in it. It is a certificate, but you pretty much just, you can sign up for whatever area, and that's the thing. So when you go for life coaching, it's not, I'm going to be a health coach or I'm going to be this type of life coach. You're going to get the overall basics of life coaching. And the program that I went through at that point, because I know that the woman who I went through, she actually changed the name. And I'm sorry that right now I can't think of it, because when I was going through it, it was called She Shares Network is what it was entitled. But she has put like hundreds and hundreds of people through this program, and her program is excellent. I mean, I definitely can go, because we're friends on Facebook. I definitely can go in there and get the information, and I can send it to you guys if you guys want to maybe add it, somewhere on the podcast or whatever like that. And if anybody is listening and want more information about it, they can definitely reach out to me to just have, a conversation. About it. It can be costly, and this is the thing that I've learned. The program I went through was held. The woman who has it is an African American, woman.
Awesome.
The price back then, mind you, this was like 3.5 years ago. So the price back then was like about $700 for the entire program, right? The program was about, I think it was like 3 months.
Okay.
Maybe 3 or 4 months, because you definitely, it's online classes, you have papers to write, you have all those kinds of things. But I comparing prices when I was looking, regular life coaching programs, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's you're not really getting. You know what I'm saying? It's like the base 6 weeks. Like a 6-week program. Or like an 8-week program or something like that. And then you're not really getting in depth. With this program, I love because we had plenty of conversations. Different scenarios, for you to really be able to understand what this whole life coaching thing is all about. But at the same time, for me, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, I hear everything you're saying, but I'm incorporating, my counseling part, and that psychology part on me, because again, like I said earlier, I'm more interested in getting to the root of your issue. If you come to me and you say, I keep dating the same guy, I keep having these same type of issues. Okay, let's stop for a second and we need to dig.
There's a root.
Let's dig deep and figure out what that root is and pluck it out. So therefore, when life comes back around, you're better able to handle what happens versus you on my phone again, like, I need 6 more sessions. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the same thing. And honestly, so many of my clients, that was the one thing that they came back to me, because I do, of course, at the end, like an evaluation. And most of them came back and that's what they said. They was like, she really helped me to figure out what my problem was. She really helped me to get my life, basically. Because It's like, if we don't listen, buried feelings do not die. They don't die. They fester and they grow, and then they're misdirected. They're misdirected. Until you heal those wounds, you're going to bleed over every person that has never cut you.
Wow. That's heavy.
Now that's heavy, yeah.
And you have to dig it out. Because if you don't, mind you, people are not the way they are just because. Everybody's the way they are for a reason. It's a reason why Sister Susie is mean as I don't know what on the door as an usher. Because it's something that probably happened to her when she was 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That she never ever dealt with. It's a reason why this young lady is promiscuous. Do you know if she has a father in her life? Do you know if she was sexually abused? Do you know what her history is?
Right.
Everybody is the way they are for a reason. Everybody has a story. And mind you, I get it. And I tell my clients, because listen, when they come to me, I tell them. And that's what I'm saying. If anybody that's listening who might be considering, life coaching, I give this disclaimer. I'm not about to play with you.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
No sense in wasting my time or wasting your time.
Exactly. I'm about my business, and it's about me helping you to get to where you need to be. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm not going to stroke your ego. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. There's going to be sessions where you might be mad at me and cussing me out. Might be sessions where you probably are crying. Listen, I've had it all. I've had a person go halfway through and be like, Shanika, I'm sorry, I can't do this no more. Because they couldn't take it.
Yeah, it's hard to face yourself.
It's hard
in those
to face that brutal reality. But again, I did it. So I know that it's hard. Going through that process was not pretty. When you have to face the brutal reality of who you really are versus who you thought you were or who you was trying to be,
right?
It's not pretty. It's not easy. It's not pleasant. I'm going to tell you, my mentor, it was plenty of days. I'm like, I hate her. Why is she so mean? Why would she say that to me? But now it was for my good. Because I feel like I'm doing you a disservice if I'm not being truthful. I'm not going to just, because for me, it's not about the money. I get in trouble all the time. People say I don't charge enough, all those things, because it's really not about the money for me.
Because the question, because that took me back when you went back and you were talking about the school and the program itself, and you were saying it was run by a Black woman, and the price and different things like that. That almost sparked a whole nother conversation in me, something about in our community when it comes to charging, what we're worth and what the service is worth, and us in our community being okay with that and being able to and wanting to support it on that level.
And that's the thing, because we'll go pay, right, someone of another race.
Yes.
Whatever they're asking for.
What they're asking for.
Yep.
But when it comes to us, it's like, oh my God, you charging that? Yeah. But at the same time, I know for me, again, my husband was one of the main ones, because actually going through my program, towards the end, that was one of our assignments. We had to actually come up with our business plan, proposal, and what we were going to charge. Of course, she was like, you charging what? You know what I'm saying? And my husband's like, that's all you going to charge? For me, again, I've gone up, right? But I just feel like, and I guess I never wanted to be a situation where if somebody really needs my help, that financially, if they can't do it financially, that I'm not going to help them. But I know there's a lot of people, who can, people want to try to get over, people will pay for what they want to pay for. So that's another prayer of mine, right? And I'm like, God, show me.
Yeah.
Like, you show me the real. Show me if this person is really genuine and what they're saying, if they cannot afford, to be a part of this program, or if it's something that I need to say, well, you know what, maybe we can reconvene another time. And trust me, God has done that. He has done that. Now, I haven't had a client yet outside of that one that was, not okay. They was like, oh, that's it? Oh, yeah, sure, fine. You know, whatever, it's not a problem. But, you know, for me, it's never been about the money. It's always been more or less what I'm able to, you know, to give to them. But I tell people in the beginning, like, I'm not going to take your money if I'm not going to be able to really do all that I need, you know, to do for you, because I'm all in. And that's what makes my coaching program unique from any other coaching program, is because I really want to dig deep and find out, why are you stuck? Why are you at this place? And we spend typically maybe the first 3 weeks working on that. And I'm like, they coming back and they in tears and they like, oh my God, you had me digging up this and digging up that. Yeah. But once they dig it up, they're like, oh my God, this is the reason why. This is why I'm picking these kind of men. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm accepting this. You know what? Because I had to do it. I had to understand why I always dated older men. I never thought I had daddy issues, because my dad was always there. But when I got to a certain age, things kind of shifted. So the age that I really needed him to be there and mold me in those areas. Now, my daddy issues didn't lead me to being promiscuous, but it was like I always was looking at at somebody older. Because I still was kind of looking for a father figure. I would have never known that if those roots wasn't dug up.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, facing that brutal reality is not easy. So, my thing is to people, like, don't do it unless you're ready. Right. I need you to really be ready. So, pray about it. Pray about it. Take as long as you need to take. During the pandemic, I can't even tell you how many clients I had during the pandemic.
That's a whole other.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that can segue into a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that was leading me into. Okay.
Oh no,
sorry. No, I was just going to say, one is an investment in yourself. Is an investment in yourself, and if you're going to consider it, it should be considered as that, is an investment in yourself. So, the last topic that I had was just, as an entrepreneur, how do you stay motivated during challenging times?
And again, I'm not trying to be cliche-ish at all, but it's God. My favorite scripture is Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. That is a scripture that I have stood on for God knows how long. Because as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, as a person who works full time, at one point in my previous church, when I say full-time ministry, right? A lot on my plate. I had to seek God and have him first. And I guarantee, I'm telling you, no lie, all those things that I was doing, because I put God first, nothing fell by the wayside. Everything that I needed to do, I was able to do, and it was being able to be done successfully, right? During these hard times, the pandemic wasn't that bad for me. I'm an introvert. So being home, I was good. Everybody else in my house, that's a whole nother story.
I'm losing it.
But I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? I'm chilling. I was fine. But at the same time, I understood what was going on. So understanding God's character, right? And then understanding, this is beyond us. This is way more and is more spiritual than anything else. And I think that that's what kind of kept me at peace, because it's like, all right, God, I see you doing something. Mm-hmm. You doing something. You up to something. And that is honestly what kept me sane. I had someone reach out to me and she was like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm okay. I'm like, at one point I had a few things going on. And she was like, well, you never seem like, you have issues. Like, you never seem like, and it's not because I'm putting on a front. It's just that I recognize that at the end, God gonna bring me out. He's going to reveal what needs to be revealed. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do what he needs to do. So it's like me putting my faith into that. Like, I'll have my moment and then it goes. Like, I had my moment. All right, Shanika, get yourself together. Mm-hmm. And it's right back, full force. Can't allow myself to break and to crumble. So, if I can encourage anybody, as an entrepreneur, during this time or during any other difficult time, you have to, number one, like I said, seek God first, right? And then number two, really understand what your purpose is in doing what you're doing. Because even if it's hard times, if this is your purpose and your passion, you're going to still go full force, you know what I'm saying, regardless of what's going on. It's not going to be that easy for you to just, sit back or ball up in a corner, and crumble like, I can't take it anymore, I can't do it anymore. If this is what you were called to do, and you know that this is what God has called you to do, and it's your passion, you're going to just go. You're going to just keep going. And honestly, that's what it was for me. I wasn't crazy during this whole pandemic. Now, mind you, y'all know me. Y'all know I like to shop, right? The only thing was I couldn't get to the mall. But guess what? Now I became an even more online shopper. It was like
boxes being dropped off.
Online shop.
Right.
Oh,
exactly. But honestly, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't really all that bad for me. But I know for some people, it was. Especially if you are an extrovert or you're a person who have to always, be doing things and going somewhere. It definitely, could have been something that affected you in that way. But for me, it was really just me saying, all right, God, we doing this. And that was kind of where it was. And God literally blessed me during the pandemic, outside of my job. I never stopped working. I was still working from home, but they was like, we just gave you this promotion. You going to earn these coins. So I was working, the whole time, but even working the whole time. And you would think that somebody would be crazy, because working for a school like that I work for during the pandemic was crazy. And then to have clients, 2 clients, meeting with clients, at least 2 of them every week, it was a lot. It was a lot.
On top of being a mother and a wife and involved in ministry and things like that. So
it was a lot.
Another part of the grace and just God just working things out. Another question I wanted to ask you, just because you touched on it a little bit, being an introvert. So being an introvert, for some people, they may even have ideas and skills and things that they want to get involved in, but that may be a little bit of a hindrance to them because they may not feel like, it's easy to, I guess, pursue a dream or goal. Do you what would you say to that person?
So I will say the same thing to them that was said to me. Go for it. My mentor would not let me put it down. Honestly, because being an introvert, I don't like, and I know now y'all probably like, what? I don't like speaking in front of people. I really don't. I don't, y'all seen me expediting service, that is not that ain't my area. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to do those kinds of things because I'm shy. People might not, they be like, you ain't shy. But when I'm in my zone, talking about my purpose and talking about my passion, I can go on for days.
Right.
But if it's just anything else, y'all see me, I sit back. I ain't the life of the party. Everybody don't know I'm here when I got there. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling. But if I'm talking about, what I know my call is and my passion and, how I feel, I can go on for days. But I don't like to do it. But when this first came and when the Lord dropped it on me and I'm like, God, are you serious? That means I now have to talk in front of people. That means I'm going to have to do, and I'm like, God is like, this is it. This is what it is. And I've gotten better. I believe that I've gotten a little more comfortable. Even with my my girl chats, I hated having to stand up there to open up. Right, what I'm saying? My nerves is bad. Heart beating all fast, hands sweating, all those things. But at the same time, it's I had to do it. So the more, I was doing it, the more, comfortable I kind of became in it. But I would say to anyone, outside of going for it, just, really, number one, seek God, again, think about what it is that, like you were saying, Malika, what is it that you do that makes you happy, that gives you joy, that gives you fulfillment, just to make sure that this is something that you feel like, you may want to do. But it could be anything, not just life coaching. It could be starting a t-shirt line. It could be maybe you can sing, but you're an introvert and you're shy to be able to stand up, in front of people and sing, but you probably got a voice out of this world. It's more or less like having God to be able to give you that holy boldness. You know what I'm saying? To just like kind of go for it. And I think for me, I'm always cautious with that because I never want to deal and operate in self. So it's like, that's how I know because when I'm nervous and hands, so I'm like, I know this ain't me. So when I'm up there and I'm talking and stuff is flowing out and people like, you was good. I'm like, yeah, that was God. It had nothing to do with me.
That was God.
And I'm just a firm believer, honestly. And I know that there's people probably listening that are not, maybe are not Christians and maybe are not, as involved, in God or had a relationship with God as I may. But I just believe that without that, we can't be successful. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't see how people cannot. I mean, at one point I wasn't as serious, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, as I've seen the miracles and as I've seen the signs and I've seen from my eyes what God can do and what he has done. And even, not even just intangible things, but you know what I'm saying? But like when I see it, how can I not? And I know that without him, I'm nothing. And nothing that I do, would be nothing. And that's the thing. I'm like, everything that we do, it should be done, for Christ and in Christ, because that's the only thing that's the way it's going to last. But for anyone who may not, feel or, believe that, I still feel like, try to figure out what your passion is, what it is. Because again, if that's what it is, you go for it. You begin to like maybe research. Because before I became a life coach, I went out online. I researched other life coaches. I went to see what they were doing, how they actually ran their businesses, and different things like that. You do your research for whatever area, it is. Try to find people that might be local, that may be doing, the same thing. They have that thing on Facebook now, like Ask Facebook, or whatever. Like, hey, is there anybody who does this, or anybody who does that? You would be surprised how many people like reach out and know, different people who do like different things. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty much, I guess, what I would give them, because I can't, because it's, I don't know who all is going to be, like listening, and I don't want to offend anybody. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, but I just think, I mean, if you do those things, I think that they'll be able to get what they need to get.
That was.
So,
did you have any other questions?
So if people, anyone that's listening, if they wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best means that they can use?
So they can reach me via my website, which is www.skgnetwork.com. I am also on all the social media, outlets. Facebook, Coach Shanika Knight. On Instagram is at the G Network. Twitter is Coach Shanika Knight. I'm trying to think what else. My email, if they go to my website or any of those social media outlets, they can reach me via my email as well, which is located on there. So I don't know if there's anything else that's new out here. I'm not on that platform.
Market Black Chat is new and you are on this platform.
Exactly.
On Market Black, absolutely. They can find me.
Technology is, because we know you, so we could have easily have had done this in person, but I just think that using this platform, Zoom and means of bridging communication, it might be somebody in Cali that might need services. So although you're in the Philadelphia area, they're not limited to to the reach. So if anyone is listening,
and that's the thing. I've had clients in different states because that's why I have Zoom. We have FaceTime, different things like that. So the geographical area does not limit.
Not limited to.
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's great, and that's something that we're definitely grateful for. These type of platforms to be able to use to expand your business outside of just your general area. So that is something and some information, for people to take in. You don't have to be limited to the area around you because we do have these other technologies and ways to reach people all over. Your gift can, be spread all over the world. It's just that, getting it out there,
Getting it out there.
going for it, like you said. Even if you're an introvert, I'm attesting to that right now. I'm sitting here on Zoom doing an interview, and if I was sitting around you, I probably would be quiet. If I really didn't know you for the whole time, but when I do know you, I open up a lot more. But this is definitely not something that has come natural to me. But I'm going for it, and I thank God for His grace, and we thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, thank you.
Hearing all about everything that you have going on and working on and everything that you're doing. And I love this shirt. So, if that is all, you didn't have any more questions. You didn't have
I enjoyed
anything
the conversation.
else.
I really enjoyed
it so
it.
much.
I did too, and I thank you guys for for even thinking of me. To come on and be able to share, because honestly, like I said, a lot of people don't realize the resources, right, that are readily available.
Right.
To them. And then it's probably a lot of people who know me and they know I'm over the G Network, but really don't know
what the G Network
is, right? And what and what I do. But so I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys allowing me, to be a part so that this can now, be something that's kind of put out there. But if I could just end with, one thing, just to kind of encourage anybody who is listening, going to a life coach or going to a therapist or going to a counselor is not a bad thing, right? It's something that, we all can use. We all need to have an outlet, someone that we can talk to who is going to be completely and totally open, completely and totally biased, for you to be able to kind of get to where you need, to get. I feel like everybody should have one person in their life that they can be completely naked with. And if you don't, my suggestion is that you begin to look for that person, pray that God can send that person, in your life, because again, God did not intend for us to do life alone. And, lastly, no matter what you have gone through, no matter what you have done, you are nowhere near in a place where God cannot grant you grace. And that you cannot be, renewed and your pieces being put back together. And one thing I like to tell my clients all the time is, don't let your already determine your not yet.
I like that. That need to be on a shirt. That's a shirt. That's a shirt.
That's my little tagline. And people be like, I like that. I'm like, well, make sure you give me credit when you use it.
That's nice. I like that.
I love that.
But seriously, though, when you think about it, don't let your already determine your not yet. It's already. It already happened. It's done. It's gone. And now we're moving forward. So if anybody out there is needing any life coaching, feel free to look me up. But thank y'all. My brother and sister, I love you guys.
We love you. We love you.
I do.
Thank you so much.
Thank
we
you.
We're just so excited just about the things that God is doing for everyone around us and just our people. Like even in these challenging times and trying times, we, as always, we're rising, and we do rise and we will rise. Just with the support of each other, and life coaching is just a great resource that we do have access to, people that we can connect with, and Coach Shanika Knight is one of those people.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I forgot. Because sometimes people don't like to come to do life coaching alone, right? I also offer group coaching. I have done that a couple times, like families. It could be like friends, however, whatever. Or if someone just wanted me, like I'm coming, like I've done it in colleges, like when my sister was in college, just like a group of girls, I was doing like coaching like that. So I also do it in group settings. as well. So if there is anyone who might feel like, you know what, I might need this, but I don't know if I'm ready to do this, by myself, and may feel a little more comfortable, with a group, of people or whatever. And I forgot to mention that because I haven't done it in a while, but I do offer that as well.
So people can contact you if they're in a group, a family, a friend group, maybe a group of friends who are having something.
That's what I've had. I've had a group of girlfriends who all felt like they needed to kind of get their life, and I did like, it was like a once a month kind of thing, but I went to where they were. We had like a little session, it was good.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And how would people reach you for the girl chat with the G Network part?
So basically, those events will be they're usually always broadcast on all my social media outlets, and it will also be broadcast on my website. And I also send out via email. So if you go to my website and sign up, then you'll be able to receive like any upcoming information about, t-shirts or events and different things like that. I send out via like email blasts.
Okay, great. Awesome. So I think we have everything. We love you. Hi, if you're still there. See you, sis.
Hi.
All right, see you.